Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. This is from RTNews.com. All right, it says here, C19 Maxxine certificates could lead to global identity document used for all aspects of life, human rights NGO warrants. All right, and as we read further, you'll start to see how this global identity document really is just going to be that chip. It's going to lead into that chip. So it says the C19 vaccination programs being launched around the world open the door to new forms of identification that could lead to greater government control over daily life. All right. Privacy International has cautioned in a new report. So now comes the talks, all right, or the introduction of that RFID or the ID 2020 or whatever they want to call it, a digital ID basically. Okay, now comes the talks about it, whether it comes through the form of warnings or it comes through the form of promotion. Their goal is to have it out there, and then they build upon it. Okay, the same way the idea of election fraud, they had to throw it out there. It started off as just something that Trump said, and then boom, they started to build upon it. All right. It says, in its analysis, the UK-based human rights group said that vaccination cards and immunity passports being issued by some governments could pave the way for digital identity schemes and other forms of ID. Okay, maybe something like RFID. Okay, it says, while countries like the UK insist that such documents are simply used to keep a record of vaccines or vaccinations and remind people when they need to receive a second dose of the drug, Privacy International detailed how the seemingly uh, benign or benign or benign, anyway, cards, which on their face appear necessary, could evolve into something quite different, and that is the point. All right. The point is for it to evolve into something different. We've been telling you that. They start with a card because it's simple. Yeah, just get a card and we could track you. But then they know damn well a card is not gonna hold, because they know a card could get lost, a card could get forged, it could get ripped up. So then, but first they need you to accept the concept of having to show proof that you've taken the vaccine. And once that idea is accepted, then they can focus on building on, okay, well, how do we make this certificate, valid so that, people don't lose it and so on and so forth. Okay. It's step by step, but nonetheless, they're pushing for it. They're not stupid. Okay. They're very, very slick. It says, well, not to the elect, really, not to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, while countries like the UK, oh, I already read that. The group said that if vaccines ever become a requirement, which we can see very well that they're on their way to being that, or are used to grant certain privileges, there becomes a need to verify any related documents, essentially turning the card into a pass. Now, if they what they could do is start, of course they started off all voluntary, or the restrictions or the compulsory level is not on a high level yet. So introduce the chip, to those who voluntarily took the vaccine, and tell them, hey, this is going to be your form of verification or pass or certificate, da 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 da. And then as things get as they squeeze tighter and tighter, they use the vaccine as justification to mandate the chip, because if they can tie the chip to the vaccine, then whatever consequence come for you not having the vaccine, the same apply to you not having the chip, because the chip on its own is not enough. You can't force people to take a microchip inside them, but you can, all right, as these so-called law experts have been saying, they can mandate something that's dealing with public health. So why not relate or tie in the chip to that? Okay, it's like handcuffing the chip to the vaccine, so wherever the vaccine goes, the chip goes. Like a special pass. All right. So it says here, it says, and and that's when it becomes an identity document. And once you have multiple uses, e.g., access to services in multiple domains, public sector, private sector, in multiple countries, i.e., travel, then we are approaching a globally or Salakia global identity document needed to live your life. All right, global identity document. And that is what that chip is going to be. All right, that chip is going to be a global thing. Revelation 13 and 16. He calls it all, oikomeni, all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. It doesn't matter where you are. That's what they're doing. All right. So this whole situation that we're in right now is not by coincidence that it affected the whole world, because they wanted to change the whole world. All right. It says, according to the organization, such function creep could be harnessed by authorities to roll out a digital ID that can be used for law enforcement, counterterrorism, and immigration, areas that typically fall outside the scope of public health. But they can now be included in there, okay, under the guise of this whole situation. Okay, so they're seeing their way, they're seeing their entrance to throw that chip out there, a digital ID. Okay, now and once again, they have ways to find fault. They can start off by saying, okay, we'll do it on your phone, but then they have ways to find faults with that. And so they're gonna say the final conclusion we've come to is that that chip the size of a grain of rice, and look, Sweden is doing it and it's working, blah 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 blah. All right. It says the group also argued that it would be unfair to tie certain privileges or rights to C19 Maxxine, um, as the drug is not available to everyone, and some parts of the world may not gain access to jab in the next year. Well, but that's easy. They can easily change that. They can say, "Oh, look, we mass produce a lot more. Here you go." All right. It says several countries have already signaled that they intend to use Maxxine certificates or passports to regulate what people can and cannot do. And we told you that. Okay? On Thursday, Brazil's top court ruled that citizens can be legally required to take the C19 jab, laying the ground for sanctions for those who refuse the drug. So you can get fined, you can get prohibited from this. You know, it says in Israel, they could say if you get arrested, or you know what I'm saying, you may get a ticket assigned, or you may get into a situation you're not allowed to have a lawyer. You know, they could come up and, you know, repeal habeas corpus. You know, it says the government has made it clear that those who are vaccinated will be allowed to enter places that will still be restricted to other populations. It is not rocket science. All right, it's prophecy, man. All right, and if you have eyes to see, you can see that this has been coming from a mile away. All right, so now let's get a couple precepts real quick. Now this is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 11, because this is as you can see, they're moving very, very quickly. All right, to try and get to their new world order. All right, it's funny, NGO, right? You replace the G with a W. All right, you have NWO, but that's a part of their global reset. That's a part of their new normal. ID 2020. Look that up. All right. So this is Job chapter 20, verse 11, because ultimately as they plot and plan all these things, it's not going to come to pass. It says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. All right. So the things they plot, all right, and the things they say, they try to cover up their true intentions, as the scriptures say in Psalms, all right, that their words were smoother than butter, all right, yet were they drawn swords, all right, or yet was war in his heart. So they don't have your best intention in mind, but they can make it seem that way by hiding the wickedness under their tongue. All right. If I have something in my mouth and I hide it under maybe gum or something, and you like open your mouth and I go like that and I have it under my tongue, you're not gonna see it, but it's there. All right. It says, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Exactly. Like if your professor, like I said, your professor tells you spit out the gum and you go and act like you spit it out, but you really hid it in under your tongue. And he checks, he's like, you're like, oh, it's just gone. That's how Esau does, man. Okay, with their wickedness. And that's what they do when they throw on those suits and they come on the TVs and they act like they care about you so much. All right. That's them metaphorically hiding the gum under their tongue. All right. It says, verse 14, yet his meat in his bowels is turned. All right. It is the gall of asps within him. Okay, now when you eat, all right, where does the food go? You enters your mouth and it goes into your stomach. All right, and then the reason they have something called bowel movement, all right, is basically inside your stomach. All right, the different processes that go take place through on there, man. All right, or in there, and then eventually you excrete the waste out. So inside your stomach, in that area, all right, is your bowels, where your intestines and your all those different organs are at. Okay, and it says here, yet his meat in his bowels is turned. Let's look up the word turned. All right, it says to turn, overthrow, overturn, to turn, to change, to transform. All right, to turn over, turn around, to be upturned. All right, so basically, it's not sitting well in his stomach. You know, when you eat something and it doesn't sit right with you, and you feel like you're about to throw it back up again. All right, it says, it is the gall of asps within him. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. So that's why, look, all these things that they've done, these Rothschilds and these DuPonts and these Rockefellers, they, and amongst many others, all right, they owe what 3/5 of the world's riches, if not more. Okay, guess what? The Lord is going to cough that all out of them anyway. Because when he comes back and destroys their kingdom and subjects them, guess what? All those riches now go to us. It's transferred. So all the things that they've done, they've taken away your rights, they've taken away your opportunity to do anything, to really be a human. Guess what? The Lord's gonna cast it all out, man. All right. So that's why we're not a look, man. They can plan all these things, they can bring their chip, but everything they've done, the Lord will undo before they're able to accomplish it. Verse 16, he shall suck the poison of asps, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. Okay. Now, for example, when you have let's say you have a farmer, or a man who wants to build a nice house, whatever the case may be, he envisions something. He envisions what it would be like to live in a fruitful land, and be able to develop good soil, and nice houses and good trees and good crops and all those different things. Okay, now that prosperous vision, okay, Esau's not, he has it in his mind. His prosperous vision is his new world order. All right, people chipped, and everybody basically paying homage to him as if he is a god. But he's not. His vision, his vision of prosperity, he's not going to see it. Okay, he's not going to see it as in see him accomplishing it. He can envision it now, but to actually physically see himself in it successful, that's not going to happen. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore. All right, so all the wickedness, because it tells you in Micah 2:1, all right, that they devise iniquity upon their beds, and when the morning is light, they practice it. All those things they've done, they've labored for, they're going to restore, because it's going to be undone. Everything they took as a part of their labor is going to be returned. Okay? All the control that they try to put upon the earth is going to be undone. It says, and shall not swallow it down. Because, you see, they've taken a lot of things now. They've taken, being that the earth is given into their hand right now, but they're not going to fully swallow it, because once they accomplished their new world order, that's when they would have swallowed everything that they've labored for. It would have come to fruition. But the Lord is like, nah, I ain't going to give you that. It says, according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. All right. So if he swallowed 80% of the world's riches, that would be his substance. Guess what? He's gonna restore 80% of the world's riches, because the Lord is gonna take it all away from him. It says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Okay. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Okay? It says, because it's just like eating. Okay? You prepare the food. All right? You labor to prepare the food. You get your whatever you eating, and then you scoop it up and you put it into your mouth and you chew and then you swallow. And once you've finally swallowed and you've been satisfied, then you've accomplished everything you labored for. From going to the grocery store, to buying the food, to bringing it home and then preparing it and then cooking it and then setting up everything and putting it in the plate and then eating it. All that is the labor just so that you can be satisfied upon eating. All right. But like it says here, um, he shall not feel quietness in his belly. All right. He shall not save of that which he desired. So what the Lord is going to do is, upon you thinking that you finally labored, I've done everything, everything is set, now I can finally eat this and be satisfied, the Lord's going to be like, nope, all that labor was in vain. All right, that's like you got the food set, and just as you eating it, somebody just comes and just flips the whole table and everything spills. Man, that's going to hurt. All right. It says, verse 21, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. Verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him when he is about to fill his belly. Because just as he thinks he's set everything in place, global certificates, global pandemic, global Maxxines, control. He's done everything. So everything should go well, right? He should be straight at the door of his new world order. The Lord said no. Verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, after laboring, after cooking, after doing all that, all those years of deceit to take away your rights and sign these bills and do this and that, just as he's finally about to put it all into use and get what he wants, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So as he is accomplishing, all right, the final steps of the New World Order to complete it, the Most High is going to intervene. All right. Verse 24, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. All right, going into those missiles. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall, terrors are upon him. Because guess what? During this war, Esau thinks that things are going to go in his favor. It's not. All right, the scriptures explicitly refer to these missiles as the army of the Lord. And that means, and what does the army do? They follow their commanding general. They follow who gives them orders. So these missiles are going to follow the orders of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. If you shoot them in one direction, he wants them to go somewhere else. He's going to do that, pursuant to Joel, the 2nd chapter. It tells you they shall not break their ranks or crash into each other, but they're going to hit the exact targets the Lord wants them to hit. Verse 26, all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. So you're going to be, all of existence has a testimony against Esau. Because Esau has done nothing but wickedness throughout his whole existence. So there's no way you're going to be able to flee to be innocent. All right. Verse 28, the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God, or from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. And you want to find out who the wicked man is? Read Malachi chapter 1 verse 3 on down. All right, it'll tell you that Esau Edom is that wicked man. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to go into that real quick. Hey man, bring it on, man, because as we just read, the more you consume, the more you're gonna restore. Okay, and just as you think you're about to accomplish this thing, man, it's over. Hey, look, they got a chariot, over here. I don't even know how that relates to lemonade insurance, but hey, it is what it is. So with that, I hope you were edified and informed. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.